Yo, what is going on, guys? Frankie Trades here, bringing you another new weekly stock watch list. Before we get started, though, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'd really appreciate that. With that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the watch list. So, as far as earnings this week goes, you can see on the screen there is absolutely nothing going on for earnings that I am paying attention to. So we're good to skip that and get straight into the video here. So, you guys know I like to cover my indexes first with NQ and ES, so that will be the first thing that I will be covering. So on here in NQ and ES, you guys will see a similar pattern. Unfortunately, we did bounce from the downside over around 23,000, and for the meantime, we're pretty far from anything to the downside. So for the meantime, I'm just plotting things like where there's relevancy, and for the meantime, we have this 1 hour downtrend on NQ, and you'll see that we have a similar one on ES. Now for here, I want to see a reclaim of 200, and then after that, a break of around 500 here on NQ with this 1 hour trend. Why 200? Well, because that was the big support that we had on NQ a little bit ago. So if you see here, you can see it was a struggle of closing it below here, and then as well as 24,000 being an important area. We got a pretty decent close for the past few days, above 24,000. So continuation back to the upside would be a little nice. Obviously, it would suck getting back into this consolidation, but for the meantime, that's what I have with some of the correlation with some of the setups that we can look at with that. Next up is ES. Like I said, kind of similar setup here, kind of the same idea. Is we more interested to the upside just because of this 1 hour trend. This 1 hour trend looks just as good as the one on NQ in my opinion. 2 rejections, 3, 4 if you really want to count these. They're barely touching, so it really comes to preference if you count those or not. But it lines up pretty well with the 6,700 break if we're able to get some good continuation upside to this. Now the biggest downside is with being a 3-day weekend. There is so much news that has dropped recently. Anything can happen. Everything is up in the air at this point. Trump has said so many crazy things on Truth Social. A lot of news has been coming out on Twitter. There are so many things in play right now, so it's hard to say if this setup will even hold, if we'll see downside, if we're going to see a gap up. Man, who knows? That's why, like I said, I'm just keeping things as relevant as I can and just charting things where they are currently at. If you guys want the most recent and fresh levels, we will be going over those in the Stock Hours Discord tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern with our pre-market review like we do every single day. Pardon me. But yeah, so that is NQ and ES. Like I said, if you want the freshest levels, make sure to join the Discord so you get the most up-to-date dates, levels, and setups that we are looking at every single day. Now, there really isn't too much to cook on the watch list, if I'm being honest. Really, the only thing I have is Tesla and Apple. Tesla is a little bit opposite of what we're looking at with as far as NQ and ES, with looking things at the upside. Tesla here, on the other hand, is a little bit on the weaker end side of things. So for the meantime, on Tesla, I have my eyes on 350. There really isn't too much. The nice part about Tesla that I always mention is Tesla is a very versatile stock. We could look to play 360. We could look to play 359. It all depends on how weak it is. If the market's really strong, how weak it's moving. If the market's weak alongside Tesla, maybe we can look for some sort of upside play on Tesla for like a pre-market high. Who knows, right? I can't predict what Tesla's going to open up at tonight and going into tomorrow, so I can't say how Tesla's going to be moving. But this is pretty big on my watch list just because it is on the weaker side of things. So that's my general basis on this, and seeing if we can get down to ideally to this 351 into this 350 break on Tesla. And then Apple's a pretty nice, decent setup here on the daily or on the 4 hour. I like this more on the 4 hour actually. You can see that we have a level at 257 that we've come close a couple times. It's in its own current consolidation. So hopefully, out of all setups that I have, this is the cleanest one that I could find that's an actual decent looking setup. And it's in a consolidation plus a flat top at 257. So hopefully we get that break going into tomorrow. Hopefully this doesn't shatter overnight. I'm hoping it doesn't, because then the watch is looking kind of dry. So but yeah, that's about it for the watch list, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Pretty short, pretty straight to the point. Just because, I mean, that's what I've been doing for the past few videos. I hope you guys understand that. Just because there really isn't too much to talk about, especially with how much weighted news there is and factors, catalysts that happen over the weekend. I don't want to go super in depth just because I would say most of the time now gets ruined, right? Everything either pushes super far away from our levels or pushes super far past the levels that we were watching, right? So there hasn't been a single watch list yet that actually has held up to the levels that we've been looking at, so which sucks. But it is what it is. That's why I've been keeping these videos a lot shorter and a lot more straight to the point. So But yeah, with that being said, before you guys go, don't forget to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'd really appreciate that. With that being said, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday and then have a fantastic trading week. Peace out.